Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, the franchise player, Double B Bad Blood, joined by that dude right there, the man known as Throwback. Hey, man, this is NXT 2.0 review, recap, I should say, and Championship Tuesday, man. I'm kind of surprised that it was a decent show.
It was pretty decent. It's just one of those things that they had to pick up from where they left off from last week. I mean, last week for NXT for me wasn't as great as it could have been, but this one made up for it. This just should have been the show after Stand and Deliver.
I mean, there was a lot of stupidity on this show. Don't get me wrong. There was. There was. The whole burning the Hall of Fame ring and then putting it on. That was stupid.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. It didn't push any narrative on it. All it did with, you know, Joe Gacy and freaking Braun Breaker, it just made it seem like, oh, great, we get Bray 2.0 as a lot of people joke around and stuff. And, you've got Braun Breaker. So it's like, what's the interest? What's the narrative you're pushing through?
And this was called Championship Tuesday. There was 3 championships, but there's 4 championships in NXT. So why wasn't the NXT championship defended?
Yeah, I know. It didn't make any sense at all.
Then again, there it is. That's your show. So let's go ahead and break it down, man. Let's start with match number 1. What was match number 1?
I usually go out of order, but the match number 1 was, you had the tag, the women's. Oh, my brain's going fart. That's how the show was. It's like you watch through it and you're trying to figure out where are they going with the show. And the producers, Bob.
No, the show was just, I don't know, man. I really can't tell you about this show. It was one of those, like, it was one of those shows, That's all you really can say. It was one of those shows.
Like, I mean, you can
first
tell,
match we had, like they start off like it's AEW with a banger of a match. We had the NXT North American Championship match.
They had Grimes and Sikoa. Oh my God, that was a good match.
That was
especially like he turns around in the beginning and says, "I respect you, but I don't respect your bloodline," and it's just, and then turns around and says, "But you know what you could do with your bloodline? You could kiss mine," and then he starts slapping his butt. It was just like, oh, here we go. This is going to be one of those matches where it goes back and forth, and the champion's going to win. But the interesting part is, the 2 major championship matches, only one title was made tonight. And if you're going to have a championship night, wouldn't you want to, shock everybody that actually a title got changed that's major?
Well, I mean, they did the tag team titles too, so we'll talk about that later. But
yeah, but I mean, if it would shock me if Mandy lost and give, somebody else a chance with the title, like Dakota, who desperately to me at this point should have it.
Here's the thing: we talked about this before, and we talked about this on a regular on a SmackDown, no, a Raw review. NXT is the horny show. NXT is the show where it's all sex. So would you want to take the title off the sexiest woman in NXT? Do you want to take the
I would take the title off the sexiest woman in NXT and give it to the sexiest woman alive, right? That's walking around in my house.
Oh yeah, see, you're over there trying to get to meatballs.
Hey, she can hear you because I don't have my usual setup because we are trying to rearrange some of this stuff right now. But yeah. Hey, if I get 2 points for telling my girlfriend she's the sexiest woman alive, I'll get food, so I'll take it.
Yeah, watch out for those meatballs; they might come up missing. No, but like that. If you look at it this way, like they're not trying to do okay. Later on the show, the NXT sexualizes everything from the interview with Nikita Lyons to the backstage skit with Tatum Paxley and Natalia. But come on, man. Let's be honest. There's no way in the NXT locker room women are just standing around looking super hot like that, makeup and everything on like that. That makes no sense. NXT is trying to, they're using these buzzwords like lit and
They're trying to bring the attitude era
and
back, but
drip.
for a different generation.
Like, oh yeah, NXT is all about that drip. Really? Some 60-year-old guy is like, hey, we should talk about that drip. What does that even mean? I don't know, but it sounds cool.
You know, the most of part is that I hear that in my household a lot, and I'm like, what happened with the phrases "cool," "awesome," "dude"? Like all these things I grew up with, and now it's like it's all about this, all about it, it's bus and bus. I'm like, are we going to a bus? Or like, is there the nearest like place around the corner we could take the city bus and stuff? Are we busing these kids to school or something? I
My
mean,
boy.
come on, like speak the language I can speak, which is
You're not
basically
even
2000s and 90s and 80s.
you're not even old, man. I don't get it. But like that's the thing. Like that's how they're getting it right now. That's like NXT is trying to appease the young crowd, but they're not. They're not at all. So they figure they'll over sexualize everything, which is what they're doing. Um,
It's more about the visual rather than the wrestler.
exactly. That's what I'm trying to get at. So they're not going to take the titles off Dakota. I mean, off of Toxic Attraction, simply because they're three hot girls. Their setup is that they're three hot girls, and they're so hot that no one can beat them. I don't understand that. Um, but then you got like Zion Quinn, who's a handsome guy. You know, they're sexualizing him. They're sexualizing it's just so much. Now, all they really need to do is concentrate on the wrestling. Concentrate on the wrestling, man. I promise you. If you concentrate on the wrestling, it'll work.
And that's WWE's not their formula right now. It's all about, oh, let's get the 18 to 35 demographic. What are we going to do about that and stuff? And the problem with that is that it doesn't work all the time. It's not. They have to step back from the NXT of old now since they rebranded it to 2.0, which is starting. It was great for me. I started liking it a lot, and then all of a sudden it became like something out of it. This is gonna be a '90s reference. You ever see a TV show on Nickelodeon called Hey Dude?
Yep.
Yeah, it's now becoming Hey Dude. Like literally, you're watching the same things, the same monotone promos and stuff. Or if it's Breaker, he's losing his crap over something, and whether he pooped his pants or whatnot. It may that what's getting me now is that, like I said, I'm reserving right to watch some of this stuff, and and it's been documented. I've been a huge fan of the original NXT, and it seemed like this show was like that. It was like one of the original NXT shows when it started, but now towards the tail end, it tapered off and stuff, and then that Gauntlet match brought it back a bit. But overall, recently, after last week, and Stand and Deliver was for me. I don't know about you, but when I was watching it, it was awesome. I was absolutely loved. That's the way I wanted it to be. But overall, since then, it's just become watching like a Nickelodeon show, wishing that the show was over.
There it is. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
What's that saying? Call a spade a spade.
Call it a spade, my man. So Cameron Grimes defends the North American Championship against Solo Sikoa. Actually, pretty decent match. Cameron Grimes is great. Solo Sikoa, all about the
But that
bloodline.
interference, come on. If that interference wasn't there, so Sokoa would have been champion. Come on now.
Yeah. Let's call it what it is. But that's NXT for you. That's there. It's just weird.
But also, I heard something about it because you cover the AEW stuff tomorrow. Is that a lot of the stuff they've been doing recently has been run-ins, interferences, setting up something else, And tonight, it just felt like this match mainly was like a copycat of that from AEW. I'm sorry, I like the show. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dogging it in the matches and stuff, but the certain things they do, it's like, and I'm going to quote Sean Ross Sapp, I want my wrestling to make sense. And to me, having somebody run into it in the middle of a really good match did not make sense. You're better off just letting the match play out and without any interference. And then afterwards, you can create the shenanigans with Carmelo Hayes' sidekick.
Well, here's the thing. The reason why Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams interfere is because Carmelo Hayes is pissed off they lost the belt to Grimes. So that makes perfect sense that he ran in. He doesn't want anyone else to be champion until he can beat Cameron Grimes for the title. So that makes a lot of sense why they interfere. But the way they left them laying and the commercial, like they were, I'm in the ring beating the shit out of someone. And then they go to the damn commentators who are at ringside while I'm doing it. And you're focusing on the commentators as opposed to the guys in the ring doing the work. Made no sense. This show makes no sense.
And the thing is, for like up to a couple weeks, it was hit up and down, up and down, up and down. And on the shows that they hit on, it made perfect sense going to Stand and Deliver. And then the last couple, it didn't make any sense. It didn't push any narrative. I was talking to Shane about this about a couple weeks ago. So I want something to push into the next setup. Gacy and Breaker, it honestly, if that becomes a specialty show, I'm probably gonna, and as much as if I wasn't watching this for Body Slam, and I'm sorry, Gas, I gotta say this, I would probably shut the TV off after that point, because I want like really interesting matches. Like, am I gonna be interested watching Natalya and Cora Jade? Yes, because it's got a backstory to it, and she started talking about that.
Now that's the interesting thing.
Other than that,
interesting. That right there is what
other
caught
than
my
that,
eye.
it just, what did this show push? Okay, so we have new tag champions. Okay, so that pushed that. So what's going to happen after that? So that's something they'll have to reveal. They announced a bunch of matches. Great. We have, two title champions that retain. Great. But you didn't push anything over. I get, Hayes wants his title back against Grimes, but where did it push it? That run-in didn't push the next 4 or 5 shows that it could build up to. It only just pushed the needle an inch. Whereas,
sometimes an inch is all you need. That's what she said.
I walked into that. I'll admit that. I'll walk in that. I'll admit
you
that.
walked right into that one.
But you know what I mean, though. Just for story-wise, it didn't advance that story where, like, and a lot of people have been talking about this. The casual fan who watches, like, a good example, what I was listening to on a roundtable on Fightful, whereas the casual fan literally will watch it and want to see, okay, so why is this person? Who's this person? I want to know this person. Whereas tonight, if you were a casual person and you didn't have your show on or a streaming show on, and you wanted something different, and you just watch, oh, it's WWE, so you watch it and you're like, is this person? I noticed Natalya and this person and this, but I don't know everything else. That's their problem, and especially on the main roster, unless it's on Friday nights. Even though the call-ups are going on, they're not pushing the needle. They need to change that with NXT, because if this is quote-unquote your developmental show, they're doing great developing talent. It's just not pushing everything forward in story. So you have the talent there. You just don't have like a lot of the stories that should be there. I mean, think about it. Who's your next challenger for Mandy? Cora is already going to be in a brawl with Natty.
Wendy Chu. That's the next challenger.
That's a little early for me.
Okay, well, I mean, I get what you're saying. I want you to listen to this though. Dakota Kai.
I listened to the Pro Wrestler in the whole thing. You and Parrish and everybody else, I listened to. So you can't say that I don't.
I mean, it makes no sense. I get what you're saying, but listen to this. Dakota Kai is furious. Okay, in one fell swoop, Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction took out all her friends. They took out Wendy Chu. They took out what's her name? Big Mommy Cool.
Right? Raquel Rodriguez. It's now Rodriguez. It's her real name, though.
Yeah. So they took her out, right? They took the NXT Women's Tag Team belts from them. So, of course, Dakota Kai is pissed. So she gets a shot at the championship, right? She loses. She loses like in grand fashion.
Anytime and if you notice with Dakota, anytime she gets a sniff of the NXT women's title, she always loses it.
Oh yeah.
Maybe,
Oh, yeah.
and that's what aggravates me. No, I don't know. Maybe that's the original NXT part of me that always loved it, and that's aggravated with it. If you're
But you
gonna,
also got to think about this. Cameron Grimes was the same way.
yeah,
Every time he got close to that North American title, he lost. So
I
give it a
understand.
little bit, and Dakota Kai will win the championship. So I don't think that the storyline between Dakota Kai and Mandy Rose is over. I do think that there's gonna be a little bit of, I mean, because Cora Jade, let's just be honest, Cora Jade's cute. She's spunky.
She's a wrestler, Avril Lavigne,
But
which this
she is not.
generation's gonna appreciate.
She is not women's championship material yet.
Yeah,
Putting her in
yeah.
a story with Natty will make her work. And if she works, then maybe she'll get a shot. So I can see Dakota Kai with another match with Mandy Rose. I don't see her winning the title.
But other than Wendy Chu, who do you see in that locker room going against Mandy?
Oh man.
The only other people I could see is her stablemates. That's it.
Shit.
That's a good question that not a lot of people
That's a real
say.
good question.
Because with all the talent they're bringing in now, who's established? Like she's being. I'm giving Mandy Rose her props, and I said I don't think she deserves it. I will. She's beaten every single woman in that locker room. She's beaten Io. She's been the longest reigning British UK champion of all time, Kaylee Ray. She's beaten Raquel Rodriguez / Gonzalez. She's beaten so many people, right? The only thing I can see happening here is if they do with Natty, but they bring it somebody from the main roster again. I'm going to throw a name out there. It's not going to be very popular just because that person's coming back. But I wouldn't mind seeing either Bailey or Asuka give Mandy a run. Because it'll do two things.
I love Bailey. Bailey has the best, in my opinion, the best gimmick. She has the I think Bailey would be perfect for it. I think she'd be perfect. She can come there, she can make these women work, and she can just do her thing. And she will be over. She will be over like Rover. Even Sasha. Bring Sasha back down.
Another name is that it's getting a shot at on the main roster now, and it's coming out of her, GM role, kind of, is Sonya Deville, and that would be an interesting because you could play back that whole storyline during, the PC era where they were literally brawling each other, and when she cut her hair and stuff, you could bring all that whole story back and have Sonya being jealous that, Mandy is champion and she's not. So, I mean, that could be an idea, but who in that locker room could make Mandy go? And that's why they're bringing some talent from the main roster down to make these people work hard.
I think they're bringing main roster talent down to coddle these young kids, teach these young kids how to work, but also to give these vets something to fucking do.
I mean, the only other thing I could do is put the NXT title on Natty like you did on Ziggler for a little bit, and then make Cora Jade work for it harder. I mean, that's
now
one
now
thing.
They've given Cora Jade, they're giving her a purpose. Now that they made it personal for her, she was attacked by her idol. That whole saying, "Never meet your idols."
Yeah,
like that right there. She was attacked by her idol. She came up with the story. Oh my God! Remember, I'm freaking out right now. I don't care. Blah blah blah. I remember when I was like 10. You pointed at me in a show in Indiana. Come on, really?
You tell a story about how you made a kid cry. Do you really think that kid remembers that?
That was funny. But me personally, that kid is gonna be like 20 years from now. I remember that one time Babylon made me cry. No one's gonna remember that shit. I thought it was funny because people were like, "You're too likable. You're such a nice guy. You're so likable. You can never make." I was like, "Watch me make that kid cry," and I did. Proud moment.
You Sasha Banks did.
Yeah, I sure did. I was like, cry.
And look at what's happening with the girl from Sasha Banks. Izzy is like huge.
Yeah. Well, It is what it is. Um, so I don't see anybody in the NXT women's division right now. I mean, they're okay. So they're pushing Nikita Lyons. They're pushing her pretty hard.
Hmm.
But once again, they're sexualizing her and they're pushing her. Lash Legend is fucking horrible. But they got her working a story with Lash Legend, which I think is stupid. Um, it is
And
what
if
it is,
she's
though.
and if anyone from NXT is watching, I'm sorry, but it's just an
If you
opinion.
are
It's not.
watching, it's my opinion, and as a wrestler, I'm going to tell you, it's bad TV. Um, but then we also had on the show a 5-team gauntlet to determine new NXT Tag Team Champions. In this gauntlet, we had Grayson Waller and Sanga. I hate that guy, Grayson Waller. We have Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wild, Legado del Fantasma. You got the Creed brothers. You got Briggs and Jensen, and you got this new tag team. What do they call themselves? Deadly, Sexy Deadly or something?
Yeah.
Elton Prince and Kit Wilson. I've never fucking heard of these guys. Never in my life have heard of these guys.
Or is it pretty dangerous?
Pretty dangerous. Pretty lame is what they are. Um, they're a remember Bob Holly and
Yeah.
who was it? Bob Holly and who else was it? Jimmy Del Rey when they were the new Midnight Express.
Yeah.
That's what this is. So this 5-team gauntlet. I mean, honestly, it was really good. Wait, let me backtrack real quick before I go into the gauntlet match. Oh, they were in NXT UK. Okay, I don't care.
Good to know.
But we had your boys from Jacket Time, Ike Manjuro and um Kushida get totally demolished by Von Wagner.
Again,
I don't
didn't push
understand.
any narrative. It didn't make any sense.
It made no sense whatsoever. No sense whatsoever. We talked about the Hall of Fame gimmick. Okay, so Joe Gacy says he wants to be the guy to lead NXT. He's the only guy that can lead NXT. So there's your world title, your NXT championship um, feud right there. But burning the Hall of Fame ring and then putting it back on with his hands on fire, that was almost as bad as Damian Priest versus AJ Styles when Damian Priest stopped
And
the
they
match.
stopped the match, and it just ended in a no contest. Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost as bad as that. Um, like my girl Kay Hensler always says, Kate Elizabeth, like she always says, the NXT parking lot is a dangerous place. Like you can get you can get kidnapped there, you can get assaulted there. You know,
You get run
apparently
over.
you can get ran over. Like that parking lot is dangerous. So in that parking lot, they kidnapped Rick Steiner, Braun Breaker's dad. So now we got kidnapping. They held him in a cage. And then they took his Hall of Fame ring. After they beat him up, they took his Hall of Fame ring. So Braun Breaker is obviously pissed. His dad got beat up.
But wouldn't you just like open the show to address that? I read somebody on Twitter said the same thing.
Yes.
And you don't address it until after the North American Championship match. And this is supposed to set up your next big feud. This is why with Gacy, he's an amazing wrestler and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and he could talk his ass off. But this match, I think what would have been perfect would have been like if you have Gacy facing something like Wagner for because of how Wagner's dominant, and Gacy could turn around and said he doesn't want people to pick on people. It that would have made it interesting, and then you could go into Breaker and Gacy, but I don't see the point of this. It's not if it's on a takeover, and obviously I'll watch it, but I'm gonna be like, why? Where is this going? You kidnapped his dad, and you didn't address it the next week. It's
But
like
here's the thing, too. He kidnaps his dad in order to get a championship match. So why the fuck do you let him go?
Exactly. I'm waiting for the big Papa Pump to come out of nowhere and
Oh my
looking for
God.
his brother.
If Scott Steiner came out, it'd be all over, man. Can you imagine giving Scott Steiner a live mic? NXT, it would be over. Then we went to Zion Quinn versus Draco Anthony. I don't really care about that match at all.
I actually thought that was probably an interesting thing because, you know, if they're gonna push both of these guys in different directions, I think freaking Zion is going to end up being a really good heel in NXT, the way he's built and everything. It's kind of like they're setting all these Samoans to be all the bad guys in
I
the
was just thinking
whole freaking thing. And when it's the polar opposite in real life, these guys seem like they're really nice guys. It's just they obviously they play a character, but it's just interesting to see how he is incorporating a lot of his Samoan heritage into this character. I wouldn't mind seeing a tag team with him and Sikoa, just literally going rickshaw on the tag division and eventually meet the Usos down the line and seeing you abandon the family, and there they are, the NXT tag champions, literally facing the main roster unified titles.
hmm,
The point is that what I wanted to say is that they retcon NXT so hard,
they
it's
do
ridiculous.
like it doesn't exist to them.
And if you're gonna unify two brands, wouldn't you think about unifying the third one? If you're making a statement, if you're Roman, I want to have the bloodline have all the gold. Well, for one thing, you don't have the NXT tag titles, you don't have the NXT championship, you don't have obviously after tonight the NXT North American championship, and you don't have any of the UK properties. Yeah, I'm throwing the UK just because you made a huge statement saying we want all the gold. Well, it's a major billion-dollar conglomerate
There it
freaking
is.
thing.
There it is.
You have a branch of a brand over in the UK, so that counts as titles. So
I don't think
that's the
anyone
point.
talks about the NXT UK.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you make a statement saying, okay, Bad Blood, I want all the titles. Well, you don't have 6 of them there, including the Body Slam, the Roundtable Podcast one. You don't have this. You don't have that. You don't have this. And of course, you don't have this. So it's like, you're making a statement that you're in a company, you want to have all the titles. It doesn't make sense if you're not looking at the entire company's brand. So that's why I'm saying if you make a statement, make sure you can back it up, because that's just asinine saying we're going to take all the titles. I that bothered me, and that leaded into the NXT because they retcon NXT so badly. Like Charlotte had the NXT title right after she won it after Rhea. They say she's a 13, 14 time champion when she's really a 14, 15 time champion with the NXT titles.
Dude, it's like this. They don't recognize any other championships than the main roster championships right now. But they're writing the NXT UK. I mean NXT brand as well. It's like it's like it's like they they pretend like Nathan Frazier from NXT UK. He's coming over to the new brand. Okay, Nathan Frazier is a great worker, right? But he's been other places. He's wrestled for other companies, but they keep calling him the rookie sensation. Like, the dude's been in the business for like 10 years. You're not a rookie anymore. So they're not even taking into account his past other places. They're just saying that he's a brand new brand. You know what I mean? I hate when they do that.
It's like going to different territories, and you're like saying, oh yeah, I'm the champion of this territory, and then you go to Boston from Oregon, and they're like, yep, we have no clue who you are, and what you hold for one territory doesn't mean the other. I understand this. I get it. I've been watching wrestling since I was 4 years old. But like, again, it has to make sense. So if you make a statement on a wrestling program and you say you want all the titles, I hate to say it, but there'll be one guy and that guy that's either a butthead or the asshole here that's willing to call you out, or better yet, the masshole that's willing to call your ass out, saying you retconned an entire company for saying you want all the titles. Then you have another men's titles. You have another 3 in NXT, and then you have 1 in the UK. So you have 4 more to go after besides your tag titles, the Intercontinental and the UK, United States. It's like the writers don't think about this.
They don't think at all. So, let me go to a backstage interview with Natty as she's walking through after she slapped the shit out of Cora Jade and put the sharpshooter on her. That was you knew she was going to turn heel. You
Yeah,
knew she was
that
going
was
to. It was
easy.
just the setup was so lame. I'm like, and here comes the turn now. Now she calls herself the Boat, the best of all time. Oh man, sorry, I was reading a message in a message here. So now she's gonna face next week. She's gonna face, God, what is her name? She's gonna face one of the NXT women rookies after she put
Diamond Mine, one of the Diamond Mine girls.
no, she's the girl that wants to be in Diamond Mine.
Yeah.
So she's gonna face her next week in a match to determine, nothing. Simple as that.
Again, same
It's not
point. Doesn't push
progressing
the
in your
narrative.
story. It's just now having matches to have matches. But at least we get to the main event, which is a 5-team gauntlet for the vacated NXT Tag Team Championships. Former NXT Tag Team Champions MSK had to relinquish the titles due to Nash Carter getting fired for things that I don't even want to discuss right now. So tonight we have Grayson Waller and Senga. We have Joaquin Waller, Raul Mendoza. We have the Creed brothers, Briggs and Jensen, and we have Kit Wilson and Elton Prince from NXT UK. I gotta say, the fact that the Creed brothers didn't win the titles tonight irks me.
Yeah.
It really irritates me because they always set up the Dusty Classic winners to win the tag team titles. MSK won the cup, they won the belts. So, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano won the cup, they won the belts.
Same with Balor and Joe.
Yep, they won the belts. So it's kind of like a thing,
It's their Money in the Bank.
Yeah, it's also stupid because they built the Creed brothers up to be this Cinderella team. Like, Diamond Mine are heels, but the fans love the Creed brothers. So to put them in this match as number 1 team, they faced in the first match, I believe it was who did they face in that first match? Oh, Joaquin Wall and
They fell El Gato del Fantasma. It's the first one.
Great match.
Freaking awesome match.
Like Mendoza and Wild, fucking awesome. They got lucky. The Creed brothers got lucky. They won the first match. Immediately, Senga and Grayson Waller come down.
No, it was Briggs and Jensen right afterwards.
Oh, that's right. Briggs and Jensen came down. Briggs and Jensen, super stiff match. Briggs and Jensen should have won that match, but they lost. So the Creed
camera
brothers,
work on that power bomb right through the table was interesting because they had like 4 different cuts, but the high angle one gave it more slow, like they were protecting him. You could see.
Yeah, you can see it. Sorry. So I mean, honestly, that was good. That was probably, in my opinion, Briggs and Jensen versus the Creed brothers was probably the best match I've ever seen Briggs and Jensen ever work. Because they came out, they were Bradshaw and who was Bradshaw's first partner? God, I can't think of it.
It wasn't the Guns, I know that.
No. But they came out old school, like hardcore West Texas redneck type, Dusty Rhodes and fucking Dick Murdoch. Dick Murdoch and Dick Slater, hardliners, they came out like that. They came out to fight. Great match. Really good match. Brooks and Jensen lost. And then immediately after that, Sanga comes out with Waller. Waller, being the chicken shit heel, came out with a sling on. Obviously, nothing was wrong with him. Took the sling off as they were taking over. Of course, picture in picture. Grayson Waller and Sanga lost.
And the thing with the picture in picture, it doesn't add anything to it. It's just you watch the action and you're just distracted through trying to keep your focus on it.
I hate picture in picture with a passion. But the Creed brothers put out another win. So they're building the Creed brothers to win this match. They're building a Cinderella story. They're doing it. They're doing it. Underdogs. They're doing it. Then a relative unknown NXT tag team. Unless you watch NXT UK, you don't know who these guys are. And let's just be honest. No one fucking watches NXT UK. Except Adam Woods.
Did for a while.
Shout out to Adam Woods. Barry Windham. That's right. Barry Windham and Bradshaw. That's who Brooks and Jensen remind me of. But Kit Wilson, Elton Prince come out pretty deadly. And I'm not impressed. But the commentators kept making it about the very first tag team to ever debut and win the NXT Tag Team Championships, right? They said that like 4 times. That right there told me they were winning the titles.
Pretty much.
And
that's a habit they have to stop, too. They're literally giving away everything when they mention stuff on commentary.
Oh, yeah. They give it away right away, which totally sucks. This match was probably the worst of this 5-team gauntlet. This was the worst of the 5-team gauntlet. Elton Prince, Kit Wilson win the tag team belts. They're the new NXT Tag Team Champions. Pretty deadly. They fucking sucked. I don't get it. If the Creed brothers don't feud with these guys over the titles, I don't get it.
It's weird because they made it seem like it was like the biggest thing ever. Yeah, they were amazing in the UK, but this is a different animal over here. It's like, how Strong could work anywhere in the world and even in NXT UK and it would be fine. But when some of the talent comes over from the NXT UK, you're kind of like leery about it. I mean, there's few exceptions. I mean, Dragunov facing Gunther. I hate calling him that.
Walter.
That match that they had in the US was great. Like, there's so many like exceptions. There's so many great talent. Hell, Piper Niven is really good. I hate calling her Dewdrop, but I mean,
we don't call her Dewdrop either.
It's just, it's like even in the Kaylee Ray is an amazing talent in her own right. I think she should be the one to have that title, the NXT Women's title, and let that run. But for some reason, they have, depending on what it is, they have something against the UK talent for some reason. It feels like not against them as people, but setting up to succeed or something like that, because you're putting over a tag team, but yet you had the longest reigning women's UK champion sitting on your roster in a fatal 4-way at Stand and Deliver, and you didn't pull the trigger to give her the title. I mean, and now she hasn't been on TV in 2 weeks.
Here's the thing. It's not even about being over NXT UK or even being over here. You can be over here. One thing you gotta understand about WWE is that they don't make storylines to make sense. They make moments. So that moment, Kaylee Ray may have been the one who was more was experienced enough to put the title on. It made all the right sense to put the title on her, but they didn't do it. They gave it back to Mandy. It made all the sense to put the tag team belts on the Creed brothers, but they put them on Pretty Deadly. It made all the sense in the world to take the NXT championship and keep it off of Braun Breaker since you were sending him to the main roster. He lost at Stand and Deliver. and had a rematch 2 days later and won the title. Why?
Still don't make sense.
Because it was all about a moment. That's it. This show is about moments. This show is a teen soap opera with no story.
It kind of reminds me of Sunday Night Heat or Saturday Night Heat, where they would have people wrestling and they were really good at it, but there was no story behind it.
Of course. One thing that the NXT is trying to do is they're trying to make themselves like AEW. Stop it. You're not going to be AEW. Starting to show off with a hot fire match for a championship, no ring introduction, just two guys in the ring ready to go. That's some NXT, that's some AEW shit. Stop trying to be AEW. Be NXT. Go back to being regular old school NXT where people actually respected the shit that was going on. Be Triple H's NXT. Because that's the only way people are gonna actually take this show seriously.
Not freaking Johnny No Name. Freaking I forget his name. Freaking the Bella Twins stepfather. And I like Pritchard. Pritchard's really good, but I think him and Hunter would be better together than him and Vince, if that makes sense. Because at least Hunter would have the pulse on there and knows what to do to change it. It just doesn't feel like some of the stuff they're trying to do is working, and they're trying to force it down everybody's throat like they were doing a long time ago with Roman for a while.
And people
we believe him, we believe him, and then all of a sudden people just react the wrong way.
And people will get tired.
Mm-hmm.
People will get tired. They'll be done. That's it. So I mean, like honestly, that's the thing.
People and the way they point, the camera was pointing at Malcolm Bivens, and the Creed brothers and stuff like that. You made them more sympathetic, and if they're supposed to be a heel tag team, you just made them more sympathetic than anything.
Once again, this show makes no sense. And that's the reason why they're losing so much respectability. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been your boys with the NXT 2.0 review. Throwback. Tell the fans where they can find you.
Other than here every Tuesday night, sometimes we'll do Wednesday mornings and Thursday nights. Wicked Crazy Pinfalls every Thursday, some Wednesdays. You just got to keep an eye on it, but mostly Thursdays. We had a blast. We had a guest appearance by Sean Ross Sapp by Cameo last week, which was funny as hell.
That was funny.
So we'll see what happens this week. You never know. There might be another cameo pop up from somebody, or somebody will pop in. We have yet to have the Wicked Crazy Pinfalls champion show up, but he's constantly streaming on Twitch. Go follow the champion. And his challenger is the one, and I'll say this. Night 2, the champion had 68 points. And I was trying to point this out, but I think Shane read it wrong on Friday night for you guys for your review show. His challenger had 112 points. Let that sink in for a second, Shane. If you weren't in that championship, someone else would be. That makes it a little more interesting, because now I can pull and be like, I have the title here still. I'm going to send it to him. But you never know. Drew Nicholas, go follow him. He's doing some more streaming stuff once a week. He might actually take that from him. So this is going to be an interesting thing. Bad Blood's got a shot also down the line too. So we'll see what goes on. But other than that, I mean, it was a great tournament. It was fun. I was happy that everybody enjoyed it. So we'll see what happens next. But yeah, every Thursday, check it out, 8 p.m., youtube.com/throwback27. And then on Twitch, it's throwback978 here. This baby is going to Shane, which Bad Blood's upset because he wanted both of them. So
Well,
But
me and Shane already decided if Shane retains the championship against against Drew, then at Double or Nothing, it will literally be Double or Nothing. Wicked Crazy Pinfall Championship, Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast Championship.
if that happens, we'll go through my scoring
Your
because
scoring is weak.
no, it's not. It makes perfect sense.
Oh my god. We need a score sheet. We need a clear, concise score sheet. WrestleMania Backlash.
Yeah. He already has the belt on his icon. That's funny.
He does?
Yeah,
Oh,
look.
he sure does. What a loser. Anyway, I'm your boy, the
But
franchise.
all I'm going to end up with for the night is something nice, and that's this.
I can't read it. Still can't read
And
it.
that's it.
Oh. August 2022. What day in August?
August 18th.
Tell her to hold out to the 26th.
Have you met my girlfriend?
Tell her
and
hold
by the
out to the
way,
26th.
and by the way,
He got the meatball. He
Yeah.
got the meatball. Yep, ladies and gentlemen, that's what happens when you do good shit. Sometimes good shit happens. And with that being said, it's your boy, the franchise, along with Throwback. We will see you guys on Wednesday with AEW Dynamite.